In the news tonight, Barbadians joined the global Christian community celebrating Good Friday. The Easter tradition of kite flying continues, although with fewer people. And in sports, Bulls stop Pinelands from having a perfect basketball season.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you very much for tuning in. As Barbadians joined Christians around the world observing Good Friday, members of the Spiritual Baptist faith took their message of the holy day to Bridgetown today. Reenacting the 14 Stations of the Cross, more than 100 members of the Sons of God Apostolic Spiritual Baptist Church journeyed through districts in the city. With crosses in hand, the devout members marked the Christian holy day, observing the crucifixion of Jesus and his death at Calvary. Bishop Marcus Walren says the church's intention is to spread God's word.
And that has always been the message that Jesus had given to the disciples. We call it the Great Commission. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Those that believe and is baptized shall be saved. All over the years, the message has always been the same. And we thank God for those who would have heard that message, because the scripture says some have ears but do not hear.
Before hitting the streets, the members took part in their traditional Good Friday service at the Richmond Gap-based church. This Good Friday, an Anglican cleric is suggesting the church is running away from several issues confronting today's world. Rector of the St. George Parish Church, Senator Reverend Canon Dr. John Rogers, says it's easy to do that and not challenge the evil at hand. Making specific reference to the conflict in Gaza, he's encouraging the church not to become complacent. This message was conveyed during a service at the St. George Parish Church.
You have many Christians in the Bible Belt of the USA who thinks that it's okay for what Israel is doing to Gaza. Because they're God's people. Everybody is God's people. Not a particular group. That's why Jesus died. He said, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. And I, when I am lifted up, I will draw the whole world to myself, not a particular group. So the church must be bothered. The church must be bothered when atrocities are taking place in our midst. And we are not speaking forcefully against them.
Falsehoods, lies and fake news figured prominently in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and in his sermon, Anglican cleric Senator the Reverend Charles Morris compared the conditions then to today's environment. He told the Good Friday congregation in the St. Peter Parish Church the condition also leads to the death of civilization.
I believe that the words of the Jews that day should be scrutinized with forensic exactitude, and their misadventures with the truth needs tabulation, because their flexibility with the facts became an established feature of the crucifixion night. They were loose with the truth on such a momentous occasion.
The culture of kite flying may not be as pervasive as before, but the Easter tradition still has its followers. Several Barbadians were on the road today purchasing big and small kites from various locations across the island. Trevor Thorpe has that report.
This is a Bajan tradition people don't engage in as much nowadays as in the past. Veteran kite maker Kenson Norville believes that part of the reason is a drastic decline in kite flying competitions. Mr. Norville, who has been making kites for most of his life, says he is also concerned that Barbadian children are more interested in being indoors on their gadgets instead of flying kites. And as he added the final touches to a large kite today, Mr. Norville suggested that kite sales may have fallen by as much as 50% in recent years.
Nobody to sponsor the competition. When I used to go to the competition in the garrison, you know, I used to get a lot of sale because people used to look forward for the competition, but now there's no competition. Nobody don't really sponsor kites like one time. So that caused the kites industry to go down. Children are coming out, everybody standing inside and tablet and the phone, and so they can't get in the hot sun.
Vendor Shakela, operating at Wildy, also reported slow kite sales.
It's a little slow for right now because other people are selling kites as well. And this is my first time at this station. I normally be at Dayton. So it feels a little slow, but at Dayton things go faster.
Customer Julie, who was shopping for that perfect kite for her little cousin, also agreed that children are not interested in the cultural practice compared with past generations.
The kids now into all these different gadgets and stuff. It wasn't like when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was excited to go kite flying and do all those fun stuff, but a lot of kids not into it now, but I think they should get back into it.
And while he has not flown a kite in years, parent Janelle said he intended to enjoy watching his children enjoy the pastime.
Let the kids have a good time, you know, and enjoy themselves for Easter, you don't know. Yeah.
When last you fly a kite?
I ain't fly a kite in decades. Not a kite boy, but as a daddy's boy, you know, they gotta take care of the kids and they fly enough kites today.
Legislative restrictions were introduced last year for flying kites, which is now permitted only between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Well, coming up on Newsnight, a fishing tournament providing a boost to tourism earnings. Barbados has benefited from millions in tourism earnings over the years through the annual Republic Bank Sir Charles Williams International Fishing Tournament. The island's Chief Fisheries Officer, Dr. Shelley-Ann Cox, puts the figure at $21 million since 2016. She says the Fisheries Department is pleased to be on board with the international tournament.
The tournament is really built on over 33 years of rich history and culture. By dedicated sports fishers, and I know Paul spoke to Sir Charles and his legacy, and we want to continue that. But most importantly, I think what was a big vision of the founding fathers was the fact that they wanted to promote the conservation of billfish, and this is very important and one of the founding principles of all of the tournaments, especially with the capture and release. Barbados stands to benefit in a major way as game fishing gains its popularity locally, regionally, and internationally.
A new reggae show has been added to the island's calendar of events. It's the inaugural Barbados Reggae Weekend, slated to run from April 26th to 29th. Director Ryan Brathwaite says it was conceptualized to ensure Barbadians enjoy quality reggae events in the month of April. Legends of Reggae, the Showdown, and Reggae in the Gardens are the three events featuring an all-star lineup of reggae and dancehall artists.
If you look at our branding, you would see that the trident is wrapped in those colors, those very familiar colors of ice, gold, and green. And this symbolizes our commitment to ensuring that Barbadians have quality entertainment, not only quality entertainment through events, but events that Barbadians can benefit from and can be proud of for Barbadians by Barbadians. And this is the story behind our branding. And since we launched our Legends of Reggae event a couple of weeks ago, there has been a frenzy on the ground. People calling all the time, very excited about what was to come for the Barbados Reggae Weekend, April 26th to 29th, 2024.
Mr. Brathwaite says strategic partnerships have been forged with entities including Caribbean Airways. He adds the show has already garnered global interest.
I can tell you from looking at the ticket sales that we have people coming from US, we have people coming from Canada, we have people even coming from Nairobi, Kenya. I had somebody send an email to us last week saying that they needed a group package for their group coming from Kenya. So I can tell you that we have attracted interest from all over the world.
Good evening with sports. I'm Anne-Marie Burke. The quest for perfection by Pinelands is over. In the last regular season game of the Corporators General Insurance BABA Premier League last night, Pinelands lost for the first time in 2024 as Burger King Clapham Bulls stopped their streak. The result also ensured Bulls wouldn't have to take on the Pine in the semi-final playoffs. Let's look at what happened in the doubleheader at the Wildy Gym. This matchup between Celtics and Spartans, with Celtics in control all game. And to finish the play, Raheem Catwell pulls the trigger at the arc and shoots the shot in a big way. Celtics at all quarters, 22-17, 43-32, 62-43, and we're at this stage just about closing it out. Theo Greenwich through the D to the basket. Spartans really trying hard to keep up, but not finishing the plays too often was their demise, and of course Celtics gain. The ball is heading back up court, and Greenwich positions himself for the pass, goes big and sinks it. As the clock ticked down, more and more Spartans were shut out of the game. The defense was White House style, and no matter the tactic, pulling jerseys and all, there was no stopping Celtics. All hands on deck, and the baskets kept coming. Spartans with the rare one-off basket jumper alleying off the board. But in the grand scheme of things, it was Celtics on the victory path as they eventually closed it out 82-55. And the night's big matchup saw defending champions Pinelands fighting tooth and nail for a win against Bulls to remain unbeaten in the regular season, with Shad Hall with the easy layup. But the Bulls are not going to let that happen so easily. Simeon Maynard in full control of this play and finishes in style. I'll say this, there are some quality plays on both sides. Rashid Maynard with a nice one. It was a tit for tat. So when Pinelands came up big, here was Maynard nailing a three. Bulls even came up bigger. Watch big man Akeem Marsh come through with the one-arm slam dunk. As after leads of 18-13, 39-23, they will end the third quarter up 8 points at 63-55. So the final 15 was crucial, and Pinelands immediately pressed hard. Maynard, who had a game-high 42, took this one coast to coast. But you sure bet the reply would come, passing the ball around before Marsh takes it and puts the money in the bank. Pinelands on the back foot needed every man in the game. Junior Moore with this one got his name on the score sheets. Bulls trying not to lose the edge ensures the baskets kept coming from them as well, and Marsh was the point man. But Pinelands had clawed their way back, and we had a game on our hands. Maynard at it again. And look at the score. Locked 78 all with just 2 minutes and change on the clock. So who had the extra push? Raheem Gibbons for the Bulls charges the D and nails the fadeaway jumper. Pinelands going for it, but rejected. Moore holds on to it, but in passing out, possession is lost. Here comes Maynard, who seizes the opportunity. This time around, though, Kadeem Brathwaite from the arc keeps it tight as you could want it. And as the fans love it, look at the scoreboard in the back, 84 all with 8 seconds left. And with a timeout call, this is where everything made a difference. Marsh is fouled and sent to the line. He nails the first, putting Bulls up by 1. And he nails the second, signed and sealed. Pinelands with one last-ditch effort to draw it level and send the game into overtime, but it won't be. The whistle goes. Bulls are 86-84 winners over Pinelands, stopping them in their tracks from ending the season with a clean sheet. Now, Pinelands end the regular season with a 13-1 record and will take on 4th place Celtics in one semi-final series, while the other semi will be between the 2nd place Fusion Boutique Station Hill Cavaliers and the Bulls. The playoffs begin on Tuesday. Well, President of the Athletics Association of Barbados, Ambassador Noel Lynch, says the island is being represented by a quality squad at this weekend's Crifty Games in Grenada. While acknowledging that the athletes were challenged by the unavailability of the Ryan Brathwaite track for majority of the athletic season, Lynch is still expecting good performances from the team.
These athletes are caliber athletes. I don't know if a lot of people know, but if you make a Barbados Crifty team, you actually are the elite of the region, and I mean at the junior level. And there are a lot of athletes here who I think will go on, who have the potential to go on to be world-class, not only juniors but senior athletes. The only issue is with Barbados is keeping our athletes in the sport after they reach the age of, say, 24, 25, when they're out of college, gone away on their scholarships.
Well, that's our news for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wishing you a safe and happy Easter.